This week on Nadia's Kitchen Creations, I'm going to be making chocolate chip cookies aged. For this recipe, I'll need 1 1/8 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and omit if you're using salted butter, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 to 3 grates of fresh nutmeg, 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of lightly packed brown sugar, you can use light or dark, 1 egg beaten, and 1 to 1 1/2 cups of milk chocolate chips. So we're just going to mix the dry ingredients into the flour minus the brown sugar. If you're missing any of that, you can go ahead and check out my blog nadiadonella.com for the full printable recipe. Link will be in the description below. We're going to go ahead and add the butter to a separate bowl and cream that by hand or with an electric mixer for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then we're going to add the brown sugar, mixing that for another 1 to 2 minutes. And then we're going to add the vanilla extract and add the beaten egg and just mix that well. Then we're going to add our flour mixture, but do not over mix this, especially if you're going to be baking it right away. If you're not baking the cookie dough right away, then you don't have to be so careful about over mixing because the gluten will have plenty of time to relax. So this is an aged recipe, but it is perfectly fine to go ahead and bake it the same day. So we're going to fold in our chocolate chips. And yes, I love a lot of chocolate chips. I mean, that's why it's called chocolate chip cookies, right? Come on, add chocolate chips. And of course you can use dark chocolate or white chocolate, toffee pieces, you can add nuts or dried fruits, anything that you want. I just prefer milk chocolate. Those are my favorite kind of chips to use. So we're going to go ahead and wrap that dough in a piece of plastic wrap because we are going to refrigerate them for 2 to 4 days. Just depends on how long you can wait. So the best that you can, just scoop out the cookie dough into a log form. It doesn't have to be perfect, but a general log shape is good enough. And yes, I did add the rest of the chocolate chips because I was like, well, why not? And all of my recipes are cut down from either a full recipe or even cut down into quarters. So if you do want to double this recipe back up, you should not have any problems with the final product. And like I said, at this point, you can refrigerate the dough for a couple hours or bake it right away, which will create a slightly flatter cookie. But if this is going into the fridge, 2 to 4 days is ideal for the dough to mature. You can decide. This batch, I waited for 3 days. So I let the dough sit at room temperature for approximately 1.5 hours-ish. That'll depend on your room temperature that you have in your home. That you want the dough to still be chilled but pliable. And then we're going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and then just divide the dough. I got 16 cookies. You can make them a little smaller or a little larger, of course. So just divide the dough as evenly as possible and you can just leave them free form on the cookie sheet or mold them into a little bit of shape with the palm of your hands. Of course, clean hands. That is water drops that you see on top of my hand. just transfer them to a wire rack to cool completely. Well, maybe cool completely, because let's face it, they taste delicious warm. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nadia's Kitchen Creations. I will see you in the next one. Bye.